Hi, my name is Warren E. Freeman Jr. This is episode 81, and I'm reviewing both Raw and SmackDown to see who won for the week. I am not playing any music during this episode because I don't feel like saying that I don't own the rights to the music that I'm being played. Plus, it's 10 o'clock at night, East Coast, and I don't want to bug anybody. So, this week was the Superstar Shakeup, and this was they marketed it as a 2-day event. Basically, what the Superstar Shakeup is people from Raw go to SmackDown, and people from SmackDown go to Raw. It's basically a draft, but we're just not calling it a draft, we're calling it a Shakeup. That's what they did last year. I covered one draft episode in my vlog series, and that was back in 2016 when they had the initial draft. But enough about the history. A Shakeup is pretty much just that. So we start off with Monday Night Raw. Kurt Angle comes out. He welcomes everyone to Monday Night Raw. He's interrupted by Sunil Singh, and we have our first person. Well, I guess Sunil Singh technically will be the first person. And then he introduces Jinder Mahal. So Jinder Mahal comes over from SmackDown. He cuts a promo on Kurt. He says, you know, I should have had better travel. I should have had a limousine. I should have had, I don't know. That's what he was saying. I'm just paraphrasing. I should have had better travel accommodations than what I got. Kurt Angle says, I don't know how things work over on SmackDown, but on Raw, you got to earn everything you get. But Jinder Mahal says, well, I'm already the best superstar on Raw. Kurt Angle says, okay, well, I'm going to put that to the test. So you're going to defend your U.S. Championship against this guy. It's Jeff Hardy. So Jeff Hardy comes out. You have an impromptu match. For the first time that these two have wrestled, to my knowledge, they had a hell of a match. Jeff Hardy hit a slick counter to the Colossus into like a pin. It was kind of cool. Then Jeff got the twist of fate, hit the Swanton Bomb. We got a new U.S. champion. And with this championship win, Jeff Hardy is now a Grand Slam champion. Now, there's two versions of the Grand Slam. Now, the Grand Slam changes a lot because the original Grand Slam winner, which was Shawn Michaels, all you needed was the European, the tag title, the Intercontinental, and the WWF championship. That's all you needed. Then they started adding all these championships throughout the years. You had the Hardcore title, you had the Cruiserweight title, and the light heavyweight title. You know, all these championships started to become added over the years, which basically changed the definition of what a Grand Slam champion was. Because I think it was Shawn Michaels, Triple H, and Kurt Angle were the first three Grand Slam champions. But Jeff Hardy has won U.S. title last night on Raw. He's been an Intercontinental champion. He's had every form of the tag champions, every form of the tag team championship, from the WCW tag title, the WWF tag titles, the Raw tag titles, the reincarnated Raw tag titles. He's been the light heavyweight champion. He's been the European champion, I think. And he's had both world titles. So that makes Jeff a Grand Slam champion. Now, I've been asking around the internet on my wrestling forum, do you need the Universal title to be considered a Grand Slam champion? And the answer that I got from most people is no. All you need is a world championship to be a Grand Slam champion. You don't even need both world titles to be a Grand Slam champion. You just need one. You just need a world championship. So Jeff's a Grand Slam champion. Congratulations for him. He beats Jinder Mahal. Moving on, Jinder goes backstage and he's interviewed by Renee. He gets interrupted by No Way Jose as his posse dances by. And count on No Way Jose being lost in the shuffle. He'll get a few funny moments, backstage moments like that, but he's going to probably end up getting lost in the shuffle. Then we go to Bayley versus Sasha. There was a botch at the beginning of the match where Bayley tried to go to the second rope and springboard and do something. They recovered from that, and then Bayley hit a sick Hurricane Rana on the outside of the ring. Then they went to commercial break. They come back. They do some more shit. Sasha gets the bank statement locked in on Bayley, and that's broken up by the Riot Squad. So that's the second group of people from SmackDown that's come over for Raw. Okay, moving on. Now we're at the, before we get to the 9 o'clock hour, we got the Authors of Pain, which was Heath Slater and Rhino. Authors of Pain beat Heath Slater and Rhino again. Heath Slater and Rhino got a little bit of offense in, a hell of a lot more than they did last week. And Rhino got to display his strength, tossing the AOP around. But they went out, the last chapter, which is like a Russian leg sweep and a clothesline, which I hate, by the way. I'm sorry. A Russian leg sweep and a clothesline. If those two motherfuckers weren't 300 pounds, then that move would not look effective at all. And it's just the fact that they're big that the move looks halfway decent. It's literally, you're taking a back bump. You're taking a back bump. You're taking a Russian leg sweep and a clothesline. That's it. Fuck, their double powerbomb of doom gimmick is better than that shit. I'd rather see that with the double powerbomb when they powerbomb each other against the other motherfucker and then they powerbomb. That's better than the clothesline Russian leg sweep gimmick. The last chapter. Come up with a new finisher. Okay, we go to 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock to 10 hour. Hour 2, this is Miz TV. It's announced in the first hour that Miz is going to have a guest or two guests on Miz TV that's going to revolutionize Raw and change Raw forever. So we finally get to Miz TV, and it's Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Those are the two people that come out. Miz basically compares this super group that he has now. He has the Mr. Ross and he has Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. He basically says this group is going to be bigger than the NWO. This group is going to be bigger than the Four Horsemen. This group is going to be the biggest thing. Blah, 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 blah. Then Kurt Angle comes out and says, well, by the way, like Michael Cole is going ham on commentary. Like, oh my God, how the hell is Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn on Raw? They have to be traded from SmackDown to Raw. They lost and da-da-da-da-da-da. Kurt Angle comes out and basically tries to get rid of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Then Owens pulls out I think it was Sami Zayn, pulls out an email out of his pocket that Stephanie McMahon wrote, basically saying that, based on the match that they had last week, which was an awesome match, by the way, based on the match that Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn had last week, that they both earned their contracts. And so Stephanie McMahon basically undermined Kurt Angle and got both Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn back on Raw, which is exactly what I said was going to happen a few weeks ago if Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn lost or won at WrestleMania. As far as Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn having a good match and that being the reason why they're on Raw, I mean, from a fan's perspective, I would buy that. But looking at it from Stephanie McMahon's perspective, I don't buy that because I think Stephanie just wanted to undermine Kurt Angle. And then Kurt Angle got in a nice little line about, I'm surprised Stephanie's able to write any emails considering that she almost had her arm broke by Ronda Rousey. That was a nice little line there by Kurt. All right, so then after that, that's not all. So after Owens drops that bombshell, then Kurt Angle says, Miz talks about the fact that how the Mr. Raw and how they're going to run roughshod over Raw. Kurt Angle says, well, Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel are going to stay on Raw, but you're going to SmackDown per the request of Daniel Bryan, who still has pull. So finally, we're going to get that Daniel Bryan Miz payoff. So it's announced there in that segment that Miz is going to SmackDown. Then we go to Bray Wyatt versus the Revival. And the winner of this match goes on to face the Bar, I do believe. Yeah, they face the Bar for the vacated Tag Team Championships at the Greatest Royal Rumble. Bray Wyatt and Matt win. I don't like their tag team finishers either. Like, I don't. Why is the Twist of Fate more effective? Because, okay, so these are the two moves that this tag team has. All right, so one of them is Bray Wyatt sets up the Sister Abigail, but instead of going to the mat, he whips him to Matt Hardy, and then that sends him into the Twist of Fate. And then the other one they came up with, which is what they hit on Raw last night, was Bray Wyatt kind of will hold his legs. Bray Wyatt will hold the opponent's legs in like a wheelbarrow stance, And while he's, straight ahead like a T, Bray has his legs. Matt Hardy grabs her head and hits the twist of fate. The problem with these moves is that none of them, the modifications are not making the moves more effective. Same thing with the last chapter. Whether it's a Russian leg sweep or a clothesline that's taking you down, it's not more effective than if one person just gave you a Russian leg sweep and the other just gave you a clothesline. It's stupid. Same thing with the Sister Abigail twist of fate and then the wheelbarrow twist of fate. It's retarded. So, yeah. Obviously, with the bar, okay, I'll talk about this now. With the bar being on SmackDown, I'll touch on that more when I get to SmackDown. It's basically telegraphing the fact that Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy are going to win the Raw Tag titles. It's a foregone conclusion because why would you have the bar win the Raw Tag titles if they're already on SmackDown? So, dumb booking there. Would not have done that. The bar backstage, they were on commentary for that match. Then the bar backstage runs into the Fashion Police, Fandango and Tyler Breeze, which they also came over from SmackDown. They serve them tickets for their apparel. And Sheamus and Cesaro are angered by this. They go ham. So then we go to a Ronda Rousey recap, where they showed her basically killing Stephanie McMahon last week. Then Ronda and Kurt Angle, they're showing Ronda Rousey and Kurt Angle talking backstage. Natalya walks in, and then that's another person from SmackDown that's coming over to Raw, and they hug. And then there's a little bit of real life inserted into this program where, Natalya really did train Ronda, so they bring that relationship on screen later on, and I'll get to that later on. Then we go to Ember Moon versus Mickie James with Nia Jax on commentary, and this is like the second time in a row where they had a wrestler on commentary, and I don't like the laziness there. I don't like it. It's just the same thing as doing the super kick in one match and then doing the super kick in the next match. I don't like same gimmicks followed by each other. I don't like it. The bar didn't really add much. And the thing is, with a wrestler on commentary, for me personally, it distracts from the match. Whether they're adding something or not. And if they're adding something, it's forgiven. But if they're not really adding anything and they're just talking, then it kind of takes away from the match. Nia Jax didn't add anything. They cut to an Alexa interview right in the middle of the match. Because Alexa was supposed to be out there. And she cuts her little promo. Then Nia Jax says, well, she's a coward. She's a coward. And I don't like her. And, of course, she's not here because she's a coward. Nia puts over Ember Moon a little bit. And then that's basically it. Ember Moon wins with the Eclipse. Alright. Then we have a segment with Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, The Miz Ross backstage. They're talking about strategy, about their 10-man tag matches. There's one thing I forgot to mention in that Kurt segment. Kurt announced that it would be a 10-man tag for the main event. So those 5 guys are backstage discussing strategy for that match. Then we go to another person that's coming over from SmackDown Live. We have Dolph Ziggler. He shows up, starts to cut a promo. Then Titus Worldwide, accompanied by Dolph's ex-girlfriend Dana Brooke, comes bouncing down to the ring. And, basically Titus tries to recruit Dolph Ziggler. Dolph turns him down. Then says, not only does Dolph turn him down, Dolph says, I didn't come to Raw alone. Drew McIntyre comes in from the crowd. He's from NXT. And then they beat the shit out of Titus Worldwide. And then we have an alliance of Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre. This is going to be very interesting. I've never known Dolph as a tag team guy. So now he has Drew McIntyre with him. I'm interested to see where that goes. We go into the 10 o'clock hour. Reigns cuts a boring promo. Joe comes out and verbally bitch smacks him again for the second week in a row, basically saying, I'm going to beat your ass at Backlash after Brock beats your ass at the Greatest Royal Rumble. Then Joe says, in case you need a reminder, this is what Brock Lesnar is capable of. Why Samoa Joe is advocating for Brock Lesnar, I'll never know. I don't get that at all. Then Reigns says, okay, that's what Brock can do. Why don't you let's see what you can do. Joe walks down in the ring, act like he's going to get in the ring, and then walks away. Classic heel shit. Typical heel shit. Nothing really wrong with it. It's just typical. Then we go to Natalya versus Mandy Rose, accompanied by Sonya Deville. I like the ending sequence here, and why is my Internet Explorer popping up? Hold on a minute. Okay, I don't know what just happened. Like, my Internet Explorer just randomly popped up. This is live, so technical difficulties. Excuse me. I really like the ending sequence to Mandy Rose and Natalya. So Natalya goes for the spinning clothesline. Mandy Rose ducks. Okay, comes back with that Harley Race knee that I was talking about a couple weeks ago that she beat Sasha with. Natalya catches the knee, locks in the sharpshooter. Mandy Rose taps out. Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose both jump Natalya. Ronda Rousey makes the save. Then Sonya Deville squares up with Ronda Rousey, and Ronda Rousey destroys Sonya Deville. I mean, just decimates her. And then we see Ronda and Natalya standing tall. I was kind of waiting for Natalya to like turn around Ronda or something for something to go down with that. But we're gonna see where that goes. I would not be surprised to see Natalya turn on Ronda and then have Stephanie the reason being behind it and some bullshit like that. So Natalya and Ronda stand tall. Baron Corbin is introduced in a package as a new member of Raw in a video package. The Bar versus the Fashion Police, and the Fashion Police win. Okay, that was just completely random. Because especially considering that you have the Bar basically get I guess you can call it a bye to this whatever tournament, tag team eliminator thing that Kurt Angle has set up. Because Kurt Angle had 2 tag matches, and then had the winners of those 2 tag matches face each other, and then he just had Cesaro and Sheamus sit at the end at Backlash to face the winner of that tag match. So with the Fashion Police defeating the Bar, I don't know how that's going to be affected now. I mean, so we still had a couple weeks till Backlash to figure that out. Then we go to Elias performs for Renee. He's cut off. Well, he performs for Renee. Renee says, "We really don't have time for this." And then Renee just kind of walks away, and then the camera fades. He also cuts a promo on Lashley. Then we go to the main event, which is, as I mentioned before, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Miz, and Mr. Raj taking on Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, Bobby Lashley, Strowman, and a mystery opponent. That person would be glorious. It would be Bobby Roode. This was actually a very good match. They started it at like, I want to say 10:30, maybe 10:25, and it gave everyone an opportunity to get their shit in. It gave us an opportunity to be properly introduced to Bobby Lashley instead of just having him do 2 moves on Elias. The climax of the match would happen where Miz would go for the tag. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn were nowhere in sight. Miz would go for the tag. You see Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas standing on the apron. As Miz goes to tag them, they both drop from the apron, basically turning on the Miz. Miz turns around, eats a power slam from Braun Strowman, 1, 2, 3. The face team wins, and that's how Raw goes off the air. All right. Then we go to SmackDown Live, the second day of Superstar Shakeup, and we have an AJ promo. He basically calls out Nakamura, saying that you're not just an artist, you're a con artist, and I want to fight you right now. Of course, Nakamura doesn't show up, and they blew an opportunity. In my opinion, they blew an opportunity to have somebody from Raw come out right here, because I figured you could do that. Have him confront AJ, maybe have a match, and then you instantly establish whoever it is on Raw or whoever is coming back. You immediately establish them as a main event talent by putting them in a ring with AJ Styles. I think that Big Cass could have easily have fit this role. I really do. You instead of doing, and like I said, Rusev Day is over as fuck. So of course there was Rusev and Aiden English that would end up coming out to the ring to interact with AJ Styles here. But I feel like they missed an opportunity with Big Cass, even though Big Cass would stand tall at the end of the show. But I still think this would have been a perfect time to either reintroduce somebody who's been injured, somebody from Raw or somebody from NXT, preferably Big Cass. You could have Big Cass come out, but that didn't happen. Rusev and Aiden English came out, which was very entertaining. It was very entertaining. AJ says, okay, well, Shinsuke, since you're not coming out, I'll fight you right now. I'll fight you, Rusev. They get in the ring. They have a very short exchange. AJ catches Rusev into the calf crusher. Aiden English jumps on AJ and breaks the matchup, causes the DQ. Then we have a DQ in the main event. I'll get to that later. Start off the show with a DQ, end the show with a DQ. But anyway, so then Daniel Bryan comes out and makes the save. And then we go back from commercial break. Paige does her Teddy Long impression. Actually does a Teddy Long impression. And makes a tag match, player. Holla, holla, holla. Then Paige walks away, and you see Shane doing the dance, and Paige comes back in the frame, and Shane acts like he's embarrassed. And that was funny. So, all right. Then we go to a Shelton promo, and he basically says that his Twitter was hacked. They display on the Titantron Shelton's kind words about Chad Gable, hoping that he does well on Raw, and then Shelton says, well, my Twitter was hacked. I would never say something like that. I never need Chad Gable. Chad Gable needed me. And to a certain degree, Shelton Benjamin kind of has a point, because when Jason Jordan left for Raw to chase his father, Kurt Angle, Chad Gable was kind of lost in the shuffle. And it was Shelton Benjamin that reinvigorated Chad Gable, and then he still got lost in the shuffle. Anyway, so Shelton Benjamin cuts his promo. He says he wants some competition, and then this is when SmackDown fucked up, in my opinion. I'm thinking, okay, Shelton makes an open challenge. I want some big competition. I'm thinking, okay, they're going to have somebody from Raw or from NXT come up right here. If they don't do it during the AJ segment, they're going to do it here. Then we hear Randy Orton's music, and I'm like, another blown opportunity. Then Randy Orton gets halfway down the stage, or the aisleway. He gets halfway down the aisleway. They cut his music. It just goes silent. And Randy Orton's standing there looking like an idiot. And then Jeff Hardy's music plays. And then Jeff Hardy comes out. They completely fucked that up. If we were going to have Jeff Hardy show up on SmackDown, don't even have Randy Orton swerve in the first place. Just take Randy Orton completely out of the picture. And when Shelton Benjamin makes the challenge, just have Jeff Hardy's music plays, and then that's how you do it. But if you're going to do the Orton swerve, at least do it right. Don't silence Orton's music completely. You have the I hear voices in my head. Then you could have done that. You could have Randy Orton come out, and then you could have played Jeff's music. I just don't like how they did that at all. So anyway, we get Jeff Hardy versus Shelton Benjamin, and I wrote down in my notes that I can remember recently watching Jeff Hardy and Shelton Benjamin wrestle on SmackDown 10 years ago, and just watching this match now, it still feels refreshed, and it also feels like they haven't missed a step. Like their chemistry is still intact, and it was as if they wrestled the day before. They're that good. Jeff Hardy went over with the Swanton Bomb. Okay. Then after that, we go into the Miz promo, which he cuts from his house in LA. Says he'll show up next week. Basically, that's the main point of that. Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville are announced as Daniel Bryan, or as SmackDown's new members of SmackDown's new members basically in a graphic. They don't even get a promo or video package. They just get a graphic. Hey, Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville coming to SmackDown. Then we get Jey Uso versus Luke Harper. Jey Uso gets squashed, but that's not really the story here, so it could be forgiven. All right, Luke Harper hits the spinning clothesline on the apron. Jey falls on the apron, and then Luke puts him in a ring and pins him for 1, 2, 3. But the story here is during the match, the very short match, if you want to call it that. The referee clearly sees Eric Rowan and Jimmy Uso getting involved in the match. Eric Rowan actually physically touches Jey Uso. Even though Jey goes for a suicide dive, Eric touches him and throws him back into the ring. That should have been a disqualification right there. But when he threw him back in the ring, that's when he hit the disqualified line. But the story that's even bigger than that is Jey's laid out in the ring. Jimmy Uso is laid out on the steps. The Bludgeon Brothers pick up the mallets and they step towards Jimmy Uso, and then Naomi runs down in the ring, gets pinned between them, and says, "No, no, no, please, that's enough." And then the Bludgeon Brother walks away. I'm going to ignore Naomi's horrible acting. I'm going to ignore that. Actually, no, I'm going to talk about it because it's funny. So Naomi's acting was horrible. You know what it reminded me of? Like Beyonce in Obsessed. And like her fake anger and her fake worry. I'll show you, crazy. Naomi comes out and says, "No, no, please." It was horrible. And again, now I hate to be one of those attitude era guys, but I really feel like this PG standard has made the Bludgeon Brothers look weak in this instance. Because for weeks, for months on end, the Bludgeon Brothers have been displayed as a merciless tag team, wrecking everything in their path for weeks, for months. And right when they're about to give Jimmy Uso the business, you mean to tell me that a woman is what stops the Bludgeon Brothers? After all this time of being merciless and dominant, a woman crying stops the Bludgeon Brothers. I don't buy it. If this was the Attitude Era, that bitch would have got put through a table, or at least shoved out of the way, at the very least. Do I think that the WWE should revert back to the Attitude Era? Totally, no. But I think in some instances, some of the Attitude Era antics would be useful in today's era. Like at WrestleMania, we got blood. It made the match like a little bit better between Brock and Roman, but it made sense. It was a built-in rivalry. It was a blood feud, so you needed some blood. And with this Bludgeon Brothers shit, I think that they should have at least shoved Naomi down or something. Something to get heat on the Bludgeon Brothers, because just seeing the Bludgeon Brothers walk away for me just ruins it. So, like, they're going to have to, like, murder the Usos at the Greatest Royal Rumble or at Backlash. Or I get so confused at which is which, because there's so many matches being announced for the Greatest Royal Rumble, then there's some matches being announced for Backlash. I want to say it's the Greatest Royal Rumble, though. Alright, so then after that, we go to Sin Cara in the ring, and then Samoa Joe shows up. And Samoa Joe comes over from Raw. He's SmackDown's newest guy. My problem with this is my same problem with the Bar being on SmackDown, which I'll talk about that in a few minutes. But with Joe being on SmackDown, this basically telegraphs the outcome between Roman Reigns and Samoa Joe at Backlash. If Roman Reigns wins the WWE title at the Greatest Royal Rumble, which I hope he does, then with Joe being on SmackDown, it's pretty much a foregone conclusion that Reigns is going to successfully defend the title against Joe. And if Reigns doesn't win the title, then Reigns is going to beat Joe at Backlash anyway, because Joe's on SmackDown and Reigns is on Raw. In Joe's promo after he destroys Sin Cara, he also talks about how he's going to take the Intercontinental Championship away, and then he's going to take the Universal title away. And I thought he was, like, hallucinating. But then somebody on the thread corrected me and said, okay, well, he is in that ladder match, you know, for the Intercontinental title at the Greatest Royal Rumble. But then again, I mean, it's not realistic for Samoa Joe to win the Intercontinental title, win the Universal title, and then bring both those titles to SmackDown. That's just not realistic at all. Unless you were going to do this uber push for Joe, which I just don't see. However, I do see the Intercontinental title and the U.S. title going back and forth between Raw and SmackDown, because the pay-per-views are dual branded now, so I can see those titles swapping. back and forth throughout the year. Then we go to I gotta admit, this Best of Worlds promo, this Best of Both Worlds video is growing on me. I hated it when I watched it on Raw, but when I watched it on SmackDown, I slightly enjoyed it a little bit more. I don't know, it just kind of grew on me. The song's catchy, and then my favorite part of the video is Eric Rowan just randomly showing up in a video, bopping his head. I'm sure if I watch it 2 or 3 more times, I'm gonna be hooked, and then I'm gonna download the song because I'm Mark. All right, so then we get a Sanity promo, or not a Sanity promo, but a Sanity video package. So they're coming to SmackDown. Daniel Bryan cuts a promo and basically says, AJ Styles is at the top of my list. And I made this list to motivate me to get back. I made this list to motivate myself to get back into the ring, and AJ Styles is at the top of the list. And then Shinsuke ruined that. But you know what? Tonight I'm going to team up with AJ and we're going to kick their ass. He didn't say that. I'm paraphrasing. Moving on. Big Cass interrupts the interview and says, so this is, and I like how Big Cass played it off because Big Cass is like legit 7 foot. So he's looking up and he's like, so this is what I have to, what did he say? This is the threat. This is what all the fuss is about. Little man. Camera pans off. Moving on. Okay, we move on to the 9 o'clock hour. We have the Melibration. This is as annoying as you thought it was going to be, as I thought it was going to be, maybe a little bit more. The only thing I enjoyed about Carmella's spiel is her strut, because she looks sexier to me doing it than Charlotte does. And that was the only thing I enjoyed. I even enjoyed the video package they put together for Carmella, because I'll tell you what, the WWE video production team is the best in the world. They can make a pile of shit look good. All you got to do is put some promotional music, some camera edits, and they can make literally a literal pile of shit look amazing. In this video, I'm not saying Carmella's a pile of shit, but I am saying that this video make Carmella look way better than she actually is. And that's credit to the production team of the WWE. So then Charlotte comes out and says, game recognizes game. Congratulations, but I want my title back. Then the Iconic Duo come out, and they got a promo, and they mock Charlotte, and it's funny. They're actually funny on the mic. I will give them that. After they mock Charlotte, Charlotte attacks them and gets her ass beat for the 2nd week in a row. But this time, before she gets to business, the real business, Becky Lynch comes out and makes the save. And I think they're going to go with a Teddy Long special again, but they don't. They actually go with a one-on-one match with Billie Kay versus Charlotte. Charlotte wins with the figure 8. Carmella's at the announce table doing commentary. Carmella runs in the ring. Carmella jumps on them, and then the 3 of them jump on Becky and Charlotte. Asuka makes the save. And then the announcer's like, oh, Asuka's on SmackDown now. Asuka's on SmackDown now. Which, it took me a while for that to register, because I thought Asuka was on SmackDown when she decided to face Charlotte for the title a month ago. But if you remember, she was still showing up on Raw. So I guess she was like a free agent. But now she's officially on SmackDown, and that's how that segment ends. Oh my God. Also, during this match with Charlotte and Billie Kay, I couldn't even really concentrate on the match because all I could hear was Byron Saxton's crybaby commentary about, oh, it's not fair. And they kind of duo beat up Charlotte, and Carmella cashed in. And Corey Graves is like, dude, shut up. You didn't say anything about when Edge did it. You didn't say anything about when Seth Rollins did it. And this is my problem with Byron Saxton. I understand that Byron Saxton is a face. And I understand that his job as a face is to get the faces over. But when you're doing it in a crybaby way, it just becomes bothersome to me. It really does. JR, for the most part, was a face. And he was passionate about what he was saying. And you believed in what he was saying. And he told a great story, sometimes better than the wrestlers in the ring, in my opinion. Michael Cole has his moments where he's decent. Byron Saxton needs to go away. Byron Saxton is worse than Booker T. I would rather have Jim Cornette on commentary than Byron Saxton. I would rather have Taz on commentary than Byron Saxton. I would rather have, God help me, 2012 Michael Cole on commentary than Byron Saxton. I cannot stand Byron Saxton for the life of me. It needs to go away. It needs to go away. All right. Moving on. The Good Brothers get a video package. The Bar cuts their promo, and then this is why I don't like the Bar being on SmackDown. Like I said earlier, the Bar cuts a promo. The Good Brothers cut a promo. With the Bar being on SmackDown, it's basically telegraphed that Matt Hardy and Bray are going to win the tag titles. It's telegraphed that it's going to happen because Cesaro and Sheamus are on SmackDown, so they're going to lose. I mean, I don't understand why you would do that. I tell you what, I know my friends, when we get together and we watch the pay-per-views, we do the pay-per-view poll where we bet on the matches. Backlash and the Greatest Royal Rumble, these two pay-per-views right here, these are the best pay-per-views to bet on this year if you're a betting man. I'm telling you right now, because some of these matches are telegraphed. Joe is not beating Roman Reigns. We know that because Joe is on SmackDown, Reigns is on Raw, and the Bar is not beating Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt because Cesaro and Bray Wyatt are on SmackDown, Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt are on Raw. So those are two matches that you're bound to win right there. I just gave you my predictions 3 weeks in advance for at least two of those matches. Orton is the number one contender for the U.S. title. They haven't announced when that's going to happen. I think that's going to happen at it is going to happen at Backlash because the original match was Orton Jinder. So, that's going to be interesting. Both Orton and Jeff are on SmackDown, so that's going to be a little bit harder to predict. I am predicting an Orton heel turn because when Jeff Hardy came out, the look on his face was like, I'm going to turn heel in 3 weeks. So, yeah. And then we do, R-Truth shows up, and he does like a segment with the New Day and Ty Dillinger, and R-Truth thinks he's on Raw, and then they say, no, we're on SmackDown. That got a chuckle. R-Truth's been doing that shtick for a couple years now. I'm about to murder his name. I'm about to murder his name, but it's Alandre Sele Almas, I think is his name. He was the former NXT champion before he lost it to Aleister Black. Him and his female companion are now on SmackDown. Then we go to the main event of AJ and Daniel Bryan versus Rusev Day. Despite how good this match was, it ended with a DQ. The referee did not initially see Shinsuke low blow AJ Styles. But when the referee turned around, he saw Shinsuke's forearm in between AJ's legs. So that right there should have been a DQ. But that's not the DQ. The DQ is when Big Cass gets in the ring and kicks Daniel Bryan in the face. My problem is you had a DQ to start the show, and then you had a DQ to end the show. And nothing was accomplished. Which is why, surprise, surprise, Raw won for the week. The reason why Raw won for the week is for that example I just gave. Raw had solid matches. Raw had a solid main event with a decisive end. And SmackDown had a DQ to start the show. They had a DQ to end the show. You had a bunch of meaningless squash matches that accomplished nothing. You had, let me talk about the order of the main event. You had AJ Styles come out on TV. I'll ignore the fact that Rusev Day got the jobber entrance, but then you have Daniel Bryan gets a TV entrance. So what's to stop Rusev Day, Aiden English and Rusev, from beating up AJ Styles before Daniel Bryan hits the ring? That was dumb. The double DQ in the main event and the start of the show was dumb. Overall, the Demelibration just dragged, and you had squash matches. So Raw won for the week. I don't really have a theme this week. I'm just gonna call it the Superstar Shakeup, and that's basically it. That's gonna be episode 81 for me. I'm Warren Freeman. I'm signing off for the night, and you guys have a wonderful night.